evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back, wherever you may be. Welcome back to another episode of the Same Old Screamers podcast.
Hey, you got it right.
I've done it again earlier on Instagram. Got it wrong again. I got it wrong again on Instagram. But look, I'm getting there. I'm new to all this, you know. I'm new to all this. Good evening to you all in the chat box. Thanks for joining us. Today's conversations will be obviously Premier League regarded, or not just Premier League, I suppose, football related topics that we thought we'd have a chat about this evening. Let's get the introductions done. Obviously, a man who needs no introduction, Mr. Dan. How are you, sir?
Yeah, really good, man. I was saying to you offline, it's just, man, a little bit of a cold, but I'm hopefully getting over the worst of it, mate. It's not COVID, negative test, which is all good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, negative, mate. You're safe, Greg. Safe.
Okay.
But I think I'm getting over the worst of it, man. So hopefully all good from here. But pleasure being on with you boys and looking forward to this, mate.
Poor old Dan. Get well soon, mate. I hope it won't last too long. Get those Lemsips into you, mate. A couple of brandies tonight. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Simo, how are you, sir?
I'm actually very well, mate. I'm looking forward to this. Loads of cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
although I'm a wee bit tired for reasons I told you.
Yeah. Sure. Jesus Christ, lads. Wait till you have kids and you'll know what tired is. Billy, how are you, mate?
I'm really well, thank you. Beautiful weather over here in Spain where I am, so
what?
I'm loving life.
In where?
In Spain.
You live in
not
Spain?
Know Billy lives in Spain.
Indeed, I do.
No,
yes.
I do. I now know now. Well, I know now. What part?
Just north of Barcelona, about 60 miles north of Barcelona.
Lucky
Beautiful.
duck.
I thought it was Villa you supported, not Villarreal, man. Come on.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Living in Spain, the lucky
I won't mention that.
Yeah, he mentions it every day, guys.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Every measurable day we've got in the UK.
Yeah. Well, you'll be thankful to know that yesterday in Ireland we had 120-kilometre-an-hour winds yesterday.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah,
he's really empathetic, isn't he?
Yeah, we can see that. The short time I've known him, I've realised that. Let's start off with obviously the hot news. These Manchester United protests, and we spoke a little bit about it last night on the Same Old Arsenal podcast. Now, I agree with everything they've done. Do I agree with them breaking into the ground? I don't really. Do I agree with them breaking into the ground? I don't know. I don't think I can say no. I know that might sound a bit like I'm condoning violence. I'm not condoning violence, but I don't think they broke in. In my opinion, I think someone was well on that, and those doors were opened. And then there was violence inside. Well, I think we hear that someone smashed down a lift door or something so they could get up into the stadium. Do I agree? Look, I don't think they were the people that probably went into the ground were there for the shits and giggles, I think. And I think the other ones, the ones that didn't enter the ground. Because what we were watching, it all seemed quite peaceful, didn't it? Until these doors were opened, and then it kind of kicked off a little bit. If I was protesting at Arsenal and I had the chance to get into the ground to disrupt the game, would I do it? I probably would, to be honest. If there was a door, I have to be honest. If there was a door open and everyone else is going through it, you have to think to yourself: would I have gone through that door as well? I probably would have. To be honest with you, and face the consequences. I think anyone who's protesting against something, whether it be football owners or it could be anything, if you've got a chance to get into somewhere and make the point even more, then they got a Premier League game abandoned. Do you know that's and there's two sides to the story. They were gurus. They were this that who got into the ground, and they weren't the real. They weren't the real protesters, but Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, said that any fella that they were speaking to that got into the ground, it was all peaceful. we saw young fellas jumping on the goal nets and taking selfies, and other fellas doing bicycle kicks into the goal down the Stretford end. But look, that's just my opinion on it, Dan. What's yours?
Before I give my opinion, that is the most hilarious comment I've ever seen in the chat from Sherlock Holmes. Cronky would have opened the food halls.
Very good. Very good.
Absolutely class. Well played, Sherlock Holmes. That is class. What's my opinion of it? People say fans don't have a voice. Absolute BS, as far as I'm concerned. Fans do have a voice. They need to be united. And I've always been I've always been guilty of saying that Arsenal fans can't unite and have a voice. And I was proven wrong, really, against Everton, because I was part of that protest at the Emirates. The difference between ours and Manchester United's was ours was peaceful. The only incident that we had was the young lad, bless him, who hurt himself falling off the box office. So I hope that he's okay now, because that was a nasty injury. That was all we saw from Arsenal. I don't condone crime and antisocial behaviour, Craig. And when they're knocking down the hotel door, when they're putting flares off towards Michael Richards and throwing beer cans at him, that to me is not acceptable. You need to have a protest, but you need to do it peacefully, because what happens sometimes, if it turns into crime and antisocial behaviour, the message gets lost. And I think there were individuals, albeit the minority, that were having hoodies and scarves. Now, you don't need a hoodie and a scarf if you're going to a protest. You only need a hoodie and a scarf if you're trying to commit offences. And that's exactly what those individuals were doing.
And a Tesco's bag. Don't forget the Tesco's bag.
Full
of shopping, we might add.
Kieran Tierney's of this world with their Tesco's bag. I honestly believe that the protest was spot on. And actually going into the ground didn't bother me. Causing damage does, committing crime and antisocial behaviour, that bothers me massively, because that takes away, a little bit like Black Lives Matter. That was a great protest and a great message. The minute people started bringing down statues and causing damage, the message got lost, and it was just a riot in the end, not a protest. So it's very, very thin line between a riot and a protest. And unfortunately, when police officers are getting hurt, when individuals are getting injured, when there's committed offences, I can't condone that. I do, however, understand why there is a huge protest because of this European Super League, and I think that the message is very clear from every single fan within the footballing world what the message is. The last thing I'll say on it, when I went to the protest for Arsenal Everton, there was a Man City fan, a Liverpool fan, and an Aston Villa fan. There you go, Billy. That were there as well.
We're everywhere.
Exactly. And they were there, and they had their jerseys on. There was no trouble. It was all fine. They had their jerseys on, and I was with Harry Simi, funny enough, and we sat there and we thought, this is good. This is football coming together. This is a united voice. This isn't just Arsenal fans now. Everybody's on board with this. So I think that football has come together, and I hope that we see peaceful protests throughout, because there's going to be more, trust me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit worried about tomorrow night. I keep saying Wednesday. Thursday night. Is there something planned? Are they going to be doing something now on Thursday after they see? I'm a bit worried about it. I hope that if there is any protest at Arsenal, that we remember to be classy about it, like we were a couple of weeks ago. That was a class protest, really, really good. Made every Arsenal fan smile that we actually came together for once for the greater good of the club after there's been such a divide. So I will say that if you are planning on going to the Emirates on Thursday night, please do it peacefully. Please do it respectfully. Remember who you're representing. Sim, I'll come to you as a Liverpool fan watching what was going on at Old Trafford. I think they actually didn't. A few of them actually broke into the training ground, didn't they? On the Wednesday, I think it was, or the Thursday, and they had a banner across the door saying, "You play when we tell you to," or "You can play when we tell you to." I mean, that's a big, powerful message. That was, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not true.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, I don't know. They cancelled this Sunday's game, didn't they?
They did. Well, I mean, like the police in the Premier League, they're the ones that cancelled it. They cancelled it as a result of violence committed by fans and they couldn't guarantee the safety of everybody on the pitch. Obviously, I think if it had been maybe a different team other than Liverpool, they maybe could have went ahead with it, but just because tempers were raised. I've got to plant myself on the other side of the camp. I thought the Arsenal protest was spot on. Like you said, the only boy that got injured was the boy that fell off the box office. I seen the video. But if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Climbing on things.
I mean, I don't want to say much about that. I don't know him, but I'd say there was a few cans of lager on board, I would imagine.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. In terms of I'm not really bored about the break into the stadium at all. But at the end of the day, I've seen videos of them throwing bottles and bricks and stuff like that.
That's where I've got a problem. Absolutely.
And it's not okay to go and do things like that. I think Gary Neville and Jamie Gallagher, although they kind of backed the protest without. They said, that it was mainly peaceful. It's either peaceful or it's not. Okay, there is no, it was 90% peaceful. That doesn't mean it was a fully peaceful process. I think Arsenal fans did a really, really spot on job of their protest. They made the message very clear to the conkies. They're now aware. I think Man United fans took it a bit too far for me. I don't think it's okay to throw bottles at police and cause violence. I'm not sure the photo was genuine. I seen a boy with a big scar down his face, and his eye sort of puffed out as well. I don't think that's okay. That's where I stand on it. I don't think Sky Sports should back it so much. Or send the message out that it's completely okay to do that. The message should be it is okay to protest peacefully, and it should pretty much stop there. Anything beyond that is you're not protesting. And if you are out there throwing bricks at police officers, for me, you're not protesting. You're just there for the day out.
Exactly. I mean,
you're just there for the day out.
Some of the pictures I saw. I mean, like I said, I go back to that fellow with a Tesco bag. He actually had a full bag of shopping. It's like he got up Sunday morning.
What was he doing? Did he nip in on the way home?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It was like he must have.
He was out anyway.
must have got up in the morning and go, right, things to do. Go shopping. And stop by Old Trafford, break in and throw smoke grenades at police. Yeah, I've done the shopping. Oh, time to go to Old Trafford. With his bag of shopping, with his whatever it was. That's what amazed me. It was full. The shopping bag was full. Absolutely brilliant. Superb. Billy, what was your thoughts on what you saw happening at Old Trafford at the weekend?
I'm just going to echo what you lot have said, to be honest with you. The Arsenal fans, their protest was, as Simo said, spot on, brilliant, peaceful, as well as the whole football community got behind that. But as you said as well, the thing that disappointed me was the fact that United fans did it took a nasty turn, didn't it, with the violence. And when it turns into things like that, as Dan said, the message is just completely lost, because the media will turn it into hooliganism, and it'll just spiral that way rather than showing the actual message, if you know what I mean. And it's not right. It's not right, like you say.
It tarnished it. It did tarnish it. It tarnished it a bit for me, when I'm seeing pictures. I mean, there was a female police officer injured. Obviously, we saw that fella with the cut along his face. Obviously, got, I don't know, a shard of glass must have hit him, or a bottle's hit him, or whatever. I mean, doing that is just, it's disgusting. And I agree with Simo there. Breaking into the ground, I haven't really got a problem with that either. I have to admit, I'm not a violent man or anything like that. But if the chance was there, I can't honestly say to you that I wouldn't have gone in, because I probably would have done. And I think if we all sat back,
especially in the heat of the moment,
exactly. Yeah, when their adrenaline was pumping. Few of them, probably a few beers on board as well helped. You're going through that door, I think, if we're all going to be honest with ourselves. Something I wanted to bring up, actually tonight myself, and Rahul has brought this up as well. I don't know if you knew about this, but Chelsea have announced that there will be 3 supporter advisors who will be permitted to attend club board meetings from July the 1st. Dan, is that something you'd like to see happen at Arsenal, or is it something you'd like to see across the board? The broader spectrum on every football club.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it's another thing that can try and prevent this happening, this Super League thing again. And it kind of touches base. I think the supporters' trusts, for fans' forums, I think should have much more of a say. And I think the voices should be heard. and that they should be allowed to have that offer of a fan's opinion. When I look at supporters or fans or anything like that, I just don't want it to get political, but I do think it's a good idea. And I would be for it, Craig, 100%. And I think that's, Chelsea, let's be honest, I was really surprised, and I go back to it, I was really surprised Man City and Chelsea were in for this. It just doesn't, for me, sit well that they would be in it, because they don't need to be in it. Yeah, they've got ridiculous amount of money, financial fair play. If those rules come in, they just pay people off. They've got enough money to worry about it. I understand why Arsenal, Spurs, even Liverpool and United went in it, but I think Manchester City and Chelsea was bizarre. And Chelsea have actually done the right thing, one by pulling out. And I think Roman Abramovich is probably the best owner, in my opinion. I'd absolutely love to have him because he's ambitious and he just wants to win. And I think that is something that he would be in for. I've seen in the cover that Jack Burgess, Abramovich is a proper owner, 100%. I'd have him at Arsenal 100%. He might have 15 new managers in 15 years, but you will 100% have 15 trophies. And that's all that matters to me, is winning trophies. So I think if we can try and get on base with the fans and the club being more on base, and I think we saw what Thierry Henry was saying last night on Monday Night Football about trying to get that back at Arsenal, I think that would be a really good shout personally, because I think that fans deserve to be more involved.
Absolutely. I know the first fella going on to the Arsenal one anyway. Mr. Judges, for sure.
Yeah.
Get him
That's
on there.
definite.
Get him. Judges is first on. Simo, something would you like to be? I mean, how would that make you feel? I mean, let's say you're a Liverpool fan, you get chosen, you get to sit in on the board meetings. I mean, you would then obviously become a spokesman for the fans. You'd be coming out of there. Your social media will be going mad because you've got all the information. I think it's good to have a person like that. I mean, like we were talking last night on the Same Old Arsenal podcast. Like Mark was saying that he doesn't understand why Thierry Henry's getting involved. He hasn't coached, he hasn't done this, and he hasn't done that. But my argument to that is that they're bringing in Thierry Henry because he's a connection to the supporters. He's a connection to the fans. He's our king. He's been our Messiah for so long that when he comes back, we automatically connect with him again. Don't matter how long he's been away for. It's a bit like when Hulk Hogan comes back to the WWF. Like it doesn't matter how long he's been away for. I'm a 39-year-old man.
What a comparison, no analogy that is.
I'm like a 39-year-old man jumping around my living room, taking my vitamins and drinking my milk. But how good would that be for fans, normal fans just like us, to be actually allowed into board meetings?
I think it'd be a great idea. I don't see what harm it could cause. I mean, they wouldn't have, they're not saying they would have any sort of say. Advisory role is essentially you give the advice and it's up to whoever sat there if they want to listen to it or not. Depending on who it was. I mean, if they linked it to, official supporter clubs, that might be an idea to do. And it would give supporters maybe a little bit of information of what's going on in the boardroom. Oh, we talked about this today, or we're going in this direction, or we're going to try rectify this problem by doing X, Y, Z. I don't see it being a bad thing. I don't see how it could be a bad thing. It's not going to negatively impact the club. So yeah, I'd be all for it if it was to come out of Liverpool or St Mirren or Devon.
Billy, I mean, we talk about Chelsea doing it. Would that lead on to Arsenal and other, the other big six clubs doing it? But I mean, what about for Aston Villa? Would that be something good for Aston Villa to have a supporter who was allowed into board meetings? That could come out on Twitter and because I'd say at those board meetings, some of the information gets held back. Do you know what I mean? If there's a Villa fan in there and he's hearing everything, he can he could release everything.
Yeah, I think like you say, across the board for whichever club it may be, whether it's for the 92 EFL teams or whether it's just for the 20 Premier League
everyone
teams. Yeah.
Every club in the football league.
Fantastic idea. Really good idea, and I really like it. Because I think you need someone to give a fan's perspective on things, someone who's gone through or followed the club through thick and thin. They've been there since day one. I think some of these, particularly the top six clubs, they need someone like that to give their opinion on things, bring these owners back down to earth a bit to show them that we're not in America now. We can't be we can't go into this American style of business, if you like. It shouldn't happen. Like I say, we're not America, and it shouldn't happen. It's England. Football is such a big sport in England, from grassroots level up to Man City at the top of the Premier League. And to have someone there as a fan, level-headed, who can basically tell these people, these owners or whatever, their thoughts and opinions on what they're doing, I think it could help massively through, as you say, from from Man City at the top of the Premier League right down until Devonvale.
Yeah,
Man City would need to go find free fans. They had a job in their hands.
Perhaps they can get some. Perhaps they could.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Perhaps they could talk into a couple of Chelsea ones going back up there. West Ham, lads. West Ham, another great win last night. A 2-1 away win. Are they going to finish? Oh, Dan, they're so close. I'm nearly. This is going to sound stupid, right? But I know I was really going to upset a lot of people. But I'm nearly willing them in there, like West Ham, to get that top 4 place, just to shake it up a bit. You know, it's not the same old boring teams. You know, well, I say boring, but you know, the same names all the time getting the Champions League football. I'm like nearly willing them to get in there. Fantastic result for them last night. Another 2-1 away win. I think, what are they, two or 3 points away, is it, from the top 4 now? Any chance, Dan? Any chance that West Ham can get a top 4 finish?
Yeah, of course there is. This is the craziest league season we've seen. What I will say is I cannot see it being anybody other than Leicester and Chelsea. I think Liverpool have screwed it up. I think West Ham have just got. I hope West Ham don't crumble and go out of Europe, because it'll be really, really harsh on them. They've had such a good season, but I don't think they're going to get top 4. Chelsea have done what Chelsea do, and Chelsea have done what I wanted Arsenal to do, which is get rid of the novice and replace him with someone who knows what they're doing. And since then, they've only lost 1 game to West Brom. I think everything else has been a win, and they were only a point behind Arsenal. Yeah, I know. They're only a point above Arsenal, or behind Arsenal. Can't remember what way around it was now. It must have been above. Everyone else is above us. And since then, they've taken over. And yeah, Tuchel's been fantastic. So I can see Chelsea and Leicester doing it. I don't think Brendan Rodgers will shit the bed like he normally does. So I think it's going to be Leicester and Chelsea, and I think West Ham would just miss out. But listen, I've been a massive fan of them. I think David Moyes deserves an amazing amount of credit. And I think I've said on here a few times, their team spirit, it just looks different at West Ham, you know? It looks different. And I think that the fans, I have been guilty of calling them deluded, because I think for the last 10 years they've been saying they're going to get top 4, top 6, and they never got close. This year they have. And I spoke to Dan from West Ham TV. I'm quite close with Dan Lawless. And their first game against Newcastle, we were laughing because they had Arsenal next, the second game of the season. And he was just like, we're going down this year. I've never seen us so bad. We look awful. We haven't got anything right. Losing to Newcastle 2-0, absolutely shoddy as hell. And then their recruitment was so spot on. And it just seems to have lifted from there. And I don't really hate West Ham fans, because I just kind of been laughing at them over the last 10 years. They've never been horrendous to Arsenal. They don't like Arsenal fans. And I don't particularly like West Ham. But I just feel like there's something that just says, do it. Go and get top 4. I'd love to see it. As long as it ain't Tottenham, I don't really care who gets in it.
Yes, yeah, well, it's
you know
true,
what I mean?
yeah, of course.
So, and they're not going to, I hope. So I think they'll just miss out, but they've had a great season.
No, they certainly have. Simo, you like me, kind of willing them in there. Willing them in. You know, West Ham versus Real Madrid, like in the Champions League. Unbelievable scene.
I think Liverpool are they're about between 5 and 8 points off or whatever. I can't remember that off the top of my head, but it's a complete outside chance that Liverpool get anywhere near it. So for me, yeah, West Ham, just to see something different. You know, I think it'd be quite cool to see like Fabianski facing down like Navas in the Champions League. I would quite like that. They just keep winning. They went to Burnley yesterday, and you know they played them off the park. It was very Burnley West Ham all 3 goals came within 10 minutes, and then it was as you'd expect for the rest of the match. they have been thoroughly impressive this season. West Ham, Mikel Antonio, who like less than a year ago was considered the best player at West Ham. There's so many players up there competing with that title now. Yeah, I think I would just love to see it because if it's not going to be us, I'd rather it be a team that's not in the big six to get there.
I don't know. Did I read a true report, or was I seeing things when I woke up early one morning? But has David Moyes been awarded Manager of the Year?
I don't believe it's been
handed
out yet.
It wouldn't surprise me if he was to win.
Must have been. I was just about to say to you, Billy. I mean, I called that a couple of weeks ago. It must have been a fake one. I'm sure I read, or I could have still been dreaming.
Be nominated or something.
I could have still been dreaming. I was on very strong painkillers last week for my back, so I could have been in a parallel universe somewhere where they still use Twitter. But Billy, he's got to be a massive shout for Manager of the Year. I mean, look, he done really well at Preston. He then went from Preston to Everton. Was at Everton a very long time. Was seen as the Messiah. To the Messiah and the protege of Sir Alex Ferguson, goes to Manchester United. Obviously, going to Manchester United and walking into that dressing room as a new manager after all those players have given all that respect to Sir Alex Ferguson for so long, and then all of a sudden they're going to work and there's a different fella in charge. Going into that changing room of all those egos must have been absolutely daunting for him, because I think he must have been awake all night the first day before he went in there. Didn't work out for him. I don't think the players really took to him, did they? They kind of down tools. He finds himself in Spain at Real Sociedad. Now he's back in the Premier League, and perhaps he wasn't that bad of a manager after all, Billy. Here we are now. I mean, look what he's doing with West Ham. Top, challenging for the top four.
Yeah, he's a fantastic manager, and he's shown what he's got in the locker. Like you mentioned, Everton, and then here at West Ham as well. I think it was always going to be hard for any manager going into that Man United role, and it was just so unfortunate the way that it went for him there. I think, like you say, the players kind of down tools and kind of took the mick out of him in a way. I don't think there would have been anywhere near as much respect as what there should have been for him. But yeah, like you say, he comes back to the Premier League after being in Spain, and he's done his job like you knew he could. I think it was always, as I say, it's always going to be hard going to Man United, but I think a Big Six team who are constantly expecting to fight for Europe, I think it doesn't suit him. I don't think those kind of sides suit him anyway. I think he needs a mid-table, average kind of team, if you like. That's no disrespect to West Ham or Everton, by the way. But I think that's
it's
just
massive disrespect, to be honest.
But I think that's the kind of team that he needs, to be honest.
Yeah, I get what you're saying,
got a
man.
Massive wage. Like, they can't spend
no egos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Other than Jesse Lingard. And I think he needs time as well. I think if you can give him time and security, then he'll do a good job. He just needs a big defensive midfielder that you can turn into a striker, and he's away.
Absolutely, yeah. absolutely. Sticking on Everton, Dan. We'll keep on Everton. Lead us in quite nicely. Ancelotti came in. They got a little bit of a manager bounce, and they were right up there for half of the season, I suppose, but fallen off big time in this half of the season. I think is it fair to say that I mean, because look, when Arteta came into Arsenal, everyone was saying, "Oh, we should have got Ancelotti. Ancelotti's done a good job at Everton, but when you're looking at the bigger picture, from where he was before Christmas and what they were doing before Christmas, and to look at them after Christmas, have they underachieved this season? Should they have kept that that charge up that they were doing? I mean, they found themselves in the Champions League spots, and we were all talking about Everton being in the Champions League. And Carlo Ancelotti was, Don Carlo, as he's been called. But I mean, they got beat again the other night, didn't they? Away from home, Billy. At home. Everton got beat at home by Aston Villa. Have they underachieved, or have they still overachieved? Or I don't know, Dan. It's a strange one to kind of nail on what Everton have done this year.
I think they've overachieved because just putting Everton and fight for top four in the same sentence proves they've overachieved. I think that you look at what Ancelotti's done there with a poor side. Their midfield, I would say, is their strongest part of their team. I don't think anybody expected Calvert-Lewin to have the season that he has. He's been outstanding. I don't feel that they have the complete squad, but I think what Ancelotti has done is getting a lot out of these players, because I don't think they're as good as some of them are. I think they're good players, but they're not outstanding. They've still got a chance of fighting for the places. I think they've got a couple of games in hand. And I look at the remaining fixtures. As I look at West Ham's, they've got Everton, funny enough, but they've got Brighton, West Brom and Southampton, West Ham. Now, that's a very, very nice end to the season for West Ham, in my opinion, because none of those teams, I think, are going to be fighting at the bottom, because I think by the time they play them, everyone's going to be down. I think we know what's happening this season. Fulham and West Brom are going down, it seems now. So I think it's a good time to play West Brom when they're going to be pretty much down. Southampton and Brighton are safe and not doing anything. So I think the West Ham have got a great chance looking at those remaining fixtures. With Everton, Carlo Ancelotti, I wanted him because I feel that he is a proven, experienced manager that can get the best out of the team, and that's exactly what he's done at Everton.
Absolutely.
I don't think they have got outstanding players. I think they've got one or two that look really good, but he's getting the best out of the Doucourés, Michael Keanes, Minas, Luca Deans. Calvert-Lewin is a great example. And actually the players that we all looked at and thought, they'd be good, haven't been that great. Richarlison's been okay some games. James Rodriguez hasn't been a great signing, in my opinion. I don't look at him and go, wow, what an achievement that was getting him. Sigurdsson turns up when he wants. Actually, the players that have really impressed me have been some of the ones that have gone under the radar, and Calvert-Lewin has been a massive factor for where they are in the league. So I think him, along with Ancelotti, do deserve credit, and I think they have overachieved. But of course, there's still games to play. They could come 9th or 10th, but I think they'll be in and around about Europe, and I think that's a good season for Everton.
Yeah, absolutely. Simo, are they at risk of being, when you see a team, they do so well, they're bringing in a new manager, they do really well. We see players like Calvert-Lewin kind of flourish under Ancelotti, scoring loads of goals. No, like Dan says, no one saw that season coming for Calvert-Lewin. England player now, and a very important England player, and will be a very important player for England at the Euros. Is there a danger that some of their players could get picked off, like the Calvert-Lewin? Could Manchester United come in for him? Manchester City, or a big club come in for him, take Calvert-Lewin away from Everton, or Richarlison. I highly rate him as well, Richarlison. That would be disaster for Everton if any of one of them two went.
It could happen. Absolutely could happen. Although Everton do pay the players quite well, and they've got a really good manager, and I think they're on an upward trajectory. Even though I do think they've underachieved, because when you look at the beginning of the season, the form they were in with that fully fit 11 that they played some really good expansive football in that 4-3-3 shape. And there's quite a lot of times in the season where Cal kind of wanted to force that 4-3-3 shape that he had in previous clubs, but he just didn't have the players to do for it, and he had to kind of switch to a sort of a back three and be a little bit more conservative than he probably would have liked to. And when I look at the squad depth, that for me is Everton's biggest problem to be solved in the coming season. If you look at the shape of their back line's been this season, there's a lot of games where they were starting with 4 centre backs just across the back line because they didn't have any full backs available. I agree with Dan. I think they're strongest in central midfield. That's where they have the most. I would say like a top 4 level of depth, but they do definitely have a midfield that could probably compete in Europe quite comfortably. I think they need a wee bit more depth going forward as well. There's been stages of the season, especially latterly, in recent games, when I've looked at the Everton bench and I've seen 5 or 6 unproven prospects in Fabian Delph, and that is not a great bench. that is a shallow bench. But in terms of Cal, I still rate him as he's got to be in the top 10 managers in the world still managing right now. He's got a terrific track record and playing at managing at the top level. And Everton have done really, really well to get him. And if they back him this summer, I think we could probably see them maybe achieve Europa League football next season if they buy well.
Billy, you've heard us all talking about Everton, but I want to come to you and talk to you about Aston Villa, because last season, you talk about underachieving, overachieving. Last season, relegate, got away with it by the skin of your teeth. Stayed up. A fantastic day for Aston Villa. One of those footballing days that you love to see. Someone survive on the last day of the season. I would, if I was a bookie, I'd have lost a lot of money, because I would have put money on Aston Villa going down this year straight away.
I think
that would have been my first pick. Well, I mean, Aston Villa have overachieved this year, Billy, haven't they?
Do you think?
Because considering from where you was last season,
considering where, I can understand.
That's an overachievement for me.
I can understand why you said that, but as a Villa fan, I think we've done what we expected to do, and I never expected us to go fighting for Europe like we were at the beginning of the season, but I expected us to be a mid-table side, and I'm glad that we are a mid-table side at the minute, and that's where we're going to finish. I think holding on to Grealish was obviously a massive, massive factor. I think we'll hold on to him this season as well. And I mentioned it last week. The ambition that the owners have for Aston Villa is massive. Like I mentioned last week, the owners, Wes Edens also owns the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA. They've kept their best players, and I think Villa will do the same. I really do. And next season, with a good amount of investment in the summer, I can really see us fighting for Europe next season. And with Grealish fit as well, he's also a pull for players, because people will want to play with Jack Grealish. It's the reason Ross Barkley came to us initially. He came because Grealish was there. And I think having someone like and as good as Jack Grealish to entice players in is only going to help the club.
Absolutely. I mean, he is a big pull. He is a massive pull. Do I think he'll still be at Aston Villa next year? I don't. I don't think he'll be at Aston Villa next year. I do think someone will come in for him. I really do. He is going to be another integral part of England's success at the Euros if he's fit, and he's ready to go. He goes straight into the team for me in the Euros. It's just my opinion. I think he's that good. I really do. Like, there's someone in the chat box says there he's created more than double chances than anybody in the league. He's been tackled the most, and he's been tackled the most, won the most fouls. The direct passes come from Jack. Everything comes from Jack Grealish when he plays for Villa. Dan, there's been rumours, obviously, leading on to that. There's been rumours, quite big rumours, from the ITKs on Twitter that Jack Grealish or Arsenal are trying to fund a move for Jack Grealish. Now, we're both Arsenal fans here. I kind of, if someone said to me that we're looking for Jack Grealish, I'm sitting up and I'm thinking, oh yeah, are we really? Probably won't happen, will it? But I mean, he's a player I'd love. Come on now. I mean, to have Grealish playing for Arsenal, what a signing that would be. Is there any chance at all that happens?
Pig just flew by me.
Just
up there. That was all.
We'll get this hashtag. I'll tell you, look, we'll get this hashtag starting. There you go. Free Grealish. Unlucky Billy. He's coming to the Arsenal, son.
We'll see who's playing top four next season.
He's a talented boy, and he's a talented boy. I've got a lot of time for him. I think he's a fantastic talent, and I would love him in the Arsenal midfield. But I spoke to Lee Judges last night, and he was saying that if we get Champions League football and we win the Europa League, Jack Grealish is going to be the star signing at Arsenal. And I've got no doubt in my mind that Jack Grealish would come to Arsenal. That's not what it is. I don't think we've got the money If I'm honest with you, I think Villa, rightly so, would say 100
I
million.
know a man who has.
Yours.
And the rest.
I know a man who has.
And yeah, that's it. So yeah, and rightly so. I mean, if you look at what players are going for nowadays, he's got to be between 100 odd million, hasn't he? You know, maybe more than that now. So I look at the situation and think that he would probably be happy to stay at Aston Villa as well. He looks like quite a loyal lad. He's obviously grew up and loves the club there, and he's driving them forward. But I will say about Villa. So no, I don't think we're going to get Grealish is the answer to the question. But I will say about Villa, I don't know why I tipped them to go down this season, because I look at their squad. They've got a goalkeeper who, by the way, is better than ours. We sold him. They've got 2 centre halves in Mings
I'm
and
very
Konza.
smug about that.
Yeah, we've got 2 centre halves in Konza and Mings that could do a better job for me than Maguire and Stones at England. I think they're both ticking time bombs with it rating to go off. I think they've got a really underrated left back who has got a brilliant delivery. I think they've signed very well with Matty Cash, because I think he's had a good season at right back.
Good player.
I like their midfield, and I think it's better than Arsenal's, with Jack Grealish, Ross Barkley, Douglas Luiz, a very underrated player. John McGinn, who, superb. I'd take him as well at Arsenal. I think he's a great player. So I go through and I think, hang on, this is getting better and better now. So why did I think they were going to go down? I think Ollie Watkins is one of the signings of the season. I think that was really risky to sign someone from the Championship. It's come in and it's worked. Massive gooner, by the way. So I look at that and think, why did I think they were going to go down? They've got El Ghazi, who's very underrated. Trezeguet, who turns up when he wants. Bertrand Traore, who's got skills. Why did I think they were going to go down? I don't know. I think it's because of last season. Dean Smith deserves a lot of credit, by the way. Dean Smith is massive credit to Dean Smith. So, yeah, and I like Aston Villa. I've never not liked Aston Villa. I think that they had a season a few years ago. It's actually quite a long time ago now, under Martin O'Neill, where they were top 4 contenders, and they had a great side with Milner and Young, and they had obviously Gareth Barry in the middle with good strikers. Zach Bonlahor was good at the time. Darren Bent was scoring at the time for him. So I thought to myself, this is a good Villa side, and they kind of went downhill, and it was like, how have they gone down? They're a huge club, Aston Villa, as well. I'm not just saying that because Billy's here. They are a huge club. Huge football club, and they've overachieved. I know Billy's he's going to say he's a fan. He wants them to win the league. Of course, every fan does. They have overachieved this season. Their squad is great, and their manager's great. So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
A comment's come in here, and we're here to discuss this one. So this one comes in from Think Football. I rate Grealish, but really, he hasn't even played at European level. He's played a few minutes for England against Wales. Arsenal, from Ozil to Grealish, is a step down.
Oh, no, please.
Wow.
Please.
Right.
Please,
Look,
no.
Yeah.
Give me some of what you're smoking. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not. Thank you for your comment.
God.
Yeah, thank you for your comment. It's his opinion. Let's be respectful. It's his opinion. I don't think that Grealish is a step down from Mesut Ozil. Not for me. Not no way. Not for me. Simo, look, we're talking about a player that doesn't play for the team you'll support. We're talking about a player going to a team that you don't support. Jack Grealish at Arsenal. I think, look, okay, let's not even talk about Arsenal. Jack Grealish, I think, walks into any midfield in the Premier League, doesn't he?
Most of them. Most of them, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
What one doesn't he walk into?
Probably Man City's right now. It doesn't walk in, but I think because Raheem Sterling, even though he's had a little bit of a dip in form, I still think he'd be a hard player to properly displace. Obviously, Foden is nailing down that position on the right. We all know Jack can play centrally in midfield as well, and I think that if he was to go to Man City, that's where he might find himself. But then again, you get De Bruyne there as well, and you got to hope that he's going to have a dip in form or an injury. But other than that, yeah, I think every other team in the league, he gets there or thereabouts. In terms of whether if you compare achievements in the game from Ozil and Grealish, obviously Ozil was achieving.
Oh, there's no comparison. Yeah, of course.
But in terms of like who would you have right now? I mean, Ozil's out playing at Fenerbahce, having a good old time, I hope.
Well, I mean, he's come back and he said he's not talking about. I'm not talking about his last few seasons, but I mean, as an Arsenal fan, I don't know if Think Football's an Arsenal fan. Mesut Ozil has been poor for Arsenal for the last 3 years. In my opinion, he's had one good season at Arsenal, and that was when he should have broke the assist record. But he had Olivier the Lamppost Giroud up front, who couldn't have hit a barn door. I mean, I hear Arsenal.
The attitude off the pitch stuff is so important to me. And I look at the off the pitch stuff with Mesut Ozil and it's shambles, and I look at the off pitch stuff with Jack Grealish in terms of his attitude and leadership. He walks in, man. For me, Jack Grealish.
Look, there's someone here now saying, "Do these men actually think Grealish is better than Ozil?" No, that's not the question. The question was, would you have Ozil now or Grealish now? The answer for me all the time is Grealish. All the time.
100%.
All the time. Yeah. Like Simo just says, he's over in Ozil's over in Fenerbahce now, still trying to score his first goal.
See, in terms of Grealish going to Arsenal as well, I do not think that could happen. The only situation I think that happens is where Cronkies kind of just want the attention to go somewhere else. And they just think, oh, but look, Jack Grealish. And then maybe to buy a bit of faith with the fans, that's the only situation. Although they would need to overpay Jack's wages, they would need to severely overpay him, they would need to overpay Villa as well. I don't think Arsenal have the financial pool or the reputational pool right now, because even if the pool of... Sorry. I've just read a comment. In terms of Arsenal can't guarantee Grealish European football next season, and obviously I don't think they have the money right now to dish out.
What about Xhaka and El Neni plus a pound?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Billy, what are you saying, Billy? I mean, Sheer Luck Holmes says there you could El Neni and a few quid. What are you saying?
Do you need an answer? Like, really?
I'm only winding you up because I've been watching you on podcasts for the last week, and this has been coming up and up and up and up and up. And I'll tell you what, mate, you have handled it very, very well. And
honestly, though, the more people talk about Grealish leaving, the less likely I think it's going to happen because we don't need to sell. He's our poster boy. He's a Villa man. He's always been a Villa fan since he was tiny. Why do we need to sell? You're talking 150 million to even sit down and negotiate with us. I genuinely don't think that with the ambition the owners have that Jack Grealish is going anywhere, and that's Barcelona, Real Madrid, Arsenal, Man City, Man United. I genuinely don't think he's going anywhere.
Bill, I've got a question for you, Bill. Right? How much would you think he is question number one. And question number two, is there any Arsenal player that you'd have over Jack Grealish?
If we're talking worth for Jack Grealish, are we talking worth?
Like how much would if I wanted him tomorrow? How much have I got to pay?
Market?
Yeah, like who? Say we were going to swap you, and we were going to give you a few quid. I mean, standout player to me would be someone like David Luiz. You can have Willock. Willock. I mean, he's banging in the goals, mate. He's banging in the goals. Have you been seeing him? I mean, come on now.
It's hard to turn down 150 million, but the worth that Jack Grealish has to us is priceless. Yeah. He's everything at Aston Villa. Mm-hmm. He's everything. And the question you asked, Dan, would I take him over anyone at Arsenal? Absolutely not. Players that I like at Arsenal would be Bukayo Saka. Now, if you could sort a deal with Grealish and Bukayo Saka, maybe it would soften the blow a little bit, but no, Grealish isn't going anywhere, and certainly not for the 80, 90 million that people are expecting him to go for. It's never going to happen.
I do like Jack Grealish's loyalty. I've got to say, he's been very, very loyal to Aston Villa. And look, you're right in what you say, but you're right in what you're saying, Billy. 100%, mate. Aston Villa don't need to sell him. Do you know? And Jack Wilshere has never maintained or given any sense that he's unhappy at Aston Villa. He just signed a new 5-year deal. I think I think it's all talk, Dan, isn't it? It's all going to be talk. It's going to be another one of these situations where we all get our hopes up. Arsenal fans, we're great at doing that. You know, I remember
it's to get the clicks at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Also,
of course, yeah.
also, you think with Jack Grealish, like, I mean, not being funny, as a player, Jack Grealish could do much better than Aston Villa, and that's no disrespect to your club, Bill, because you're a great club.
No, I've spoken to it about Dad before. He walks into any team in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
He's top draw. Now, at the end of his career, is he going to be like Harry Kane or Matt Letizia and go, I stayed at my club, I didn't win anything, but I stayed at my club, and that's good enough for me? Or is Jack Grealish, I look at his attitude and think, I think he's going to want to go that level up. Now, I don't know if the clubs in this current climate have got enough money realistically for what it would be. But do you think that maybe, he's 25 or 26, Jack Grealish, isn't he? In a couple of years, is he going to get to 28 and think, like Harry Kane, I need to get out of here now because I've got to go and win something?
Yeah, because at 28 years old, that's going to be your last. I think like this is
your last move.
It's your last move, Harry. For me, right? I'm going to take my Arsenal hat off for a second here. Harry Kane, players like Harry Kane, Son. You could even say Lloris. They've got to leave Spurs if they actually want to consider winning anything before they retire, because it's around the corner for some of them. It's around, Harry Kane's a striker. Strikers, what on average strikers last 32, 33.
Yeah. If
they're going to be any good, then they might go and play in the MLS and be half as good as what they used to be. So Jack Grealish is, like Dan's spot on there. Jack Grealish, Bill, he's definitely going to be entering that column soon, isn't he? That if he wants to win something in football and he wants to turn around and look at his trophy cabinet, the possibility he's going to have to move on. But do you know what? Right, I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Grealish did stay at Villa for the rest of his career and retired at Aston Villa. That wouldn't surprise me either.
I agree with you, to be honest with you, Craig. I think that it all depends as well, though, where Villa go as a club now. Because as I've mentioned it over and over again, we've got ambitious owners. These owners are going to be wanting to pump money into the club as much as possible and get us fighting for the top 4 places. If Grealish can win us a major trophy, whether it be the FA Cup, the League Cup, even the league, whatever. If he can get us a major trophy, then he's done his job at Aston Villa. And then it'd be hard for me to say goodbye, but it would be acceptable for me to say goodbye at the end of his career. But I think it all depends where Villa are going to be. If next season we can go on an incredible cup run, hopefully get to the final and even win it, then it's what dreams are made of for me, because that'd just be everything for me. I would just love to see us win something like that.
Be nice. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Very gently, your team have won the European Cup. Ours haven't. So we talked about that last week. Shall we move on to the Champions League semi-finals? One happening this evening, one happening tomorrow. Real Madrid and Chelsea and Real Madrid, should I say? Happening this evening, poised lovely at 1-1. Dan, should be a hell of a game, mate. Should be a hell of a game. I'm expecting Chelsea to win this game this evening and go to the Champions League final. And I'm also hoping that Manchester City go through as well, because that would be... I always love it when there's 2 English teams in the Champions League final, because I know it pisses UEFA right off. So that is the reason why I want 2 English teams. And if it could be 2 English teams in the Europa League as well, that would piss them off even more. So, could you imagine if Platini was still in charge? He'd be ripping his hair out. But that's the reason. That's the only reason why I'd want to see 2 English clubs. But I expect Chelsea to get the job done tonight. I really do. I think they can beat Real Madrid. What do you reckon?
I think Chelsea can beat them, but I don't think they'll beat them tonight. I think they'll beat them tomorrow night because it's Man City tonight. But I think Chelsea will definitely beat Real Madrid.
That's what I just said. Chelsea tonight, didn't I? Chelsea will win tonight.
It's tomorrow night.
Oh, is it?
It's Man City tonight. Oh, you're right. I think Chelsea will win tomorrow night, and I think they'll go through. And I think you're right, Craig. I think Man City and Chelsea will play each other in the final. It's PSG.
Well, bugger me. It is. Sorry about that.
You're right, man. I'm only mucking around. PSG, if there's ever a game where you wonder if you like Neymar or not, watch that game again from last week, and I'll promise you can't stand the man. I hate some players in my time, but I can't stand that lad. I absolutely hate him. He's running up to the referee, screaming, doing that. Doesn't do that on the pitch, just runs up to the referee and screams at him. I am done with this player. I love Mbappe, but Neymar, not for me. One of the most underrated as well for me is Verratti. I think he's an unbelievable midfielder for PSG. They've got some great players, as have Manchester City. I expect Manchester City to get the job done tonight, and I expect Chelsea to win. I do, and I find it bizarre. Listen, if Thomas Tuchel takes over, in fact, Frank was in charge, they're a point above Arsenal in ninth, whatever the hell it was, and he wins the FA Cup, the Champions League, and gets into the top four. Then again, we'll see a manager of the season candidate, because that is outstanding achievement. So I expect it to be a Manchester City Chelsea final, and I'm not predicting the Europa League final. Trust me, I'm not.
Simo, what are you saying, mate?
I'm going to say it's the semi-finals. All the teams involved are insanely good. And I think there might be an upset. I don't know if it will be an all-English final. I probably wouldn't like to see that as a Liverpool fan, even though I know it pisses off UEFA, but still, for it to be City and Chelsea, oh man, I would need a few glasses of shandies to get myself through that evening. But in terms of if there was going to be an upset, I'd probably say Real Madrid are probably the more likely of the two to get that upset. I mean, you cannot write off Real Madrid. Even though they have an aging squad, they still have a squad absolutely packed to the brim of world-class top players. Tuchel, he's proven himself a more than capable manager to be at an ambitious club like Chelsea. And if he goes and wins the Champions League on his first season after, I think it really emphasises how out of his depth Frank Lampard was.
But wouldn't that be a what's his name, a Di Matteo thing? Wouldn't that be a situation there where, Di Matteo took over? What did he take over? What, are they quarter-final or something like that?
Something along those lines.
Something along those lines. And then he had the audacity to go over to Roman Abramovich and say, I've done it for you. I can remember watching him going, what? One thing I'd always say about Di Matteo is, do you know when you blow up a balloon and draw a face on it? That's what he looks like, isn't it? So that night when he was up there, he had a big smiley face on him and a big wide open eyes. But is that unfair on Tuchel to say, oh well, they were kind of there already, and you've kind of come in and you've steadied the ship? Is that unfair?
No, absolutely not. The players are there, but they can only play the system laid out by the manager. And Frank's solution to a lot of things was hope Olivier Giroud has a decent game. when he had a squad absolutely laid with talent all over the pitch. I think this back three system that Tuchel's employed at Chelsea makes him so solid, so hard to beat. He is the calibre of manager that should be at a club like Chelsea. I think if they buy in the summer, they're just going to be absolutely up there competing. The thing is with Tuchel, he says to last a few seasons and then the players get a bit of burnout. So generally, if they're going to see success under Tuchel, they will see it in the first and second seasons and then a little bit in the third. Because from what I read on The Athletic, where else would I read it? But the Tuchel could be a little bit hard to deal with after a few seasons due to the intensity that he manages his players. Phone calls in the middle of the night, make sure you cover this player, etc., etc. Yeah, but I think if there was going to be a club in these two, between these two ties to make an upset, I still back it to be Real Madrid, who just their pedigree in this competition is just unmatched.
So what are you saying then? Manchester City, Real Madrid final for Simo, yeah?
I would say it's either going to be City Madrid or Chelsea PSG. I'm predicting there will be an upset. That's all I'm saying. There will be an upset.
Prospect of this all English final, does he?
I hope PSG win the Champions League, because then I can just laugh at Spurs because Pochettino's won a trophy.
You've actually beaten me to it. I was going to say that. It is another, it's another. what's it? It's another stone to throw at them, isn't it? Poor old Spurs. Always the bridesmaids, never the bride. Billy, your predictions for the Champions League? Who would you like to see in the final? Who do you think is going to get to the final?
I'm going to make a massive shout here and say that there's going to be a double upset. PSG, Real Madrid final.
Oh,
I like it.
Now, I'm not often right, but I'm backing myself.
Go on, Billy, back yourself, mate.
that's really good.
Till the day I die. It's not going to happen, but I'll back
I'll
myself.
tell you what, I'm going to say this, but it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like it.
One day it will.
So just to finish off, obviously, we have the Champions League tonight and tomorrow. And then, of course, we've got the Europa League semi-finals coming up. Arsenal in the semi-finals still in the tie, bringing Villarreal back to the Emirates. I'm at Manchester United. We're already in it in the final, unless an absolute footballing miracle happens.
Imagine that. Jose just shit houses that. That would be so Jose Mourinho to go and beat Manchester United with a 4-0 aggregate.
And him sitting in the stands just going, do you know what, right? That's got to be worth £1. It's got to be worth £1. If that, the odds you would get on that, what have they got to do? They've got to win. What,
4-0?
They've got to win 4-0.
If they win 4-0, they're through.
4-0. That's got to be worth £1. I think I'm going to put £1 on that because, like, how many times have we sat here and seen things happen like in our lifetime on a football pitch where you think this,
I'd love
this game's over, and do you know? I mean, how many times that game we love so much, you just do not know what's going to happen, do you?
Could you imagine that PSG and Roma win?
A double. Do you know what? £1 double. God, I don't know.
You get a good bit of money back for that.
You would. Would. Dan, we welcome Villarreal back to the Emirates on Thursday. 2-1 down, away goal, massive that we got the away goal. Another and a save from Bernd Leno as well has kept us in that game. I'm not going to forget that save. Hell of a save there in the second half. We're still in it somehow. A lot of people are getting nervous. Now, I'm not as nervous as I was last week for some reason. I don't know why that is, but probably tomorrow or on Thursday night, I would have visited the toilet a few times. But surely we can turn that round at the Emirates. Surely we can turn. We have 1-0 win. He'll do it. I would expect if we get one, we're going to get 2 or 3. I think we can shut Villarreal at home, certainly. It's all about getting that team right. So then it goes, do you trust Mikel Arteta to get the team right after the shambolic form? And I want to talk to the two boys about that as well. The shambolic formation that he played away from home. It's like Lee said, or it's someone, I think it was Judges or Graham said that he was like sitting at home watching Manchester City beat PSG and went, oh, I might do that tomorrow. And experimented in a European semi-final.
Yeah, it's what I've seen since November. Shambolic management from a novice. He doesn't know what he's doing, this guy. It's just unbelievable that he's still at the club. But he is, and he's still going to be. Even if we don't get through on Thursday, he's going to stay because we are trusting a process, apparently. So we are going to be stuck with the guy. Do I think we're going to win? I don't. I fear we're going to go out. I fear the worst because I cannot trust this manager. I cannot trust this team. And the last time we won at the Emirates was at the start of March in the North London derby. So I do not have any confidence that we're going to go through this game. And I think we're going to lose the game 2-1. However, I'm usually wrong like Billy. So I hope that I'm wrong. And I hope that we do go through. Of course, I want to win the Europa League. I think it's going to be tough. If we do get to the final, it looks like it's going to be Manchester United. I want to see the right team. That's all I want. The right team on Thursday. None of these false nines or bloody inverted wing backs or chucker at left back. Just play your best side and you should comfortably beat a very poor Villarreal side who has got a 48-year-old at the back in Raul Albiol, Etienne Capoue in midfield and one Foyth at right back. We should not be struggling against Villarreal. The way I see it is we are going to be very, very confident if we see the team news that we want to see. But I don't feel we will, Craig. Kieran
I was
Tierney
confident last week.
today.
I was confident last week
I was
when I saw the
confident.
team.
You know what? I was confident last week until I saw the team because I didn't know what the hell was going on with the formation. But I was confident because it was away, and I thought that we could do the business over there because our away form has been much better than our home form. I ain't confident because we're at the Emirates, and I just feel like we're asking too much of this manager. I just don't think he's good enough. I really don't like this manager, and I've made it clear on this podcast many times, and he's done nothing to convince me at all in our league position and with that shambolic performance we saw last week. I need to see more Craig, and he needs to this game on Thursday. I keep saying tomorrow, I keep thinking it's Wednesday. This game on Thursday. Yeah, this game on Thursday is the biggest game Arsenal have had since Baku, and it's Mikel Arteta's biggest game of his Arsenal tenure. So we have to win.
Absolutely. Simo, what would your feelings be if you're an Arsenal fan? You know, Villarreal in the semi-final coming up, 2-1 down. Would you be confident, or would you be like Dan? Would you be a bit,
Well, I mean, when you compare the experiences of both managers, Unai Emery's clearly been in this situation quite a few times over his managerial career. I think the decision making of Arteta for the team, it was a strange one. Smith Rowe at false 9. I thought that was a bit of a strange one to test in a semi final. He probably should have put that out in a league game because the league doesn't really mean that much to Arsenal at this point. I'd expect I could see Emery getting the job, although I do think Arsenal have the better squad. If Arteta he's clever, he cannot allow Villarreal to start the game the way they did and when they were at home. Villarreal started the game with a really, really solid plan. They had an an answer to every question Arsenal asked them, and it looked as if they were really thoroughly prepared and researched the players they were going to be up against. If Villarreal are allowed to start the way they did at home, then they'll get their away goals early, and there'll be no chance. Arsenal need to start with at least set the tone for the first 15-30 minutes of the game.
Absolutely.
But I think Emery will be expecting that.
Well, I'm hoping
he's prepared for it.
I'm hoping he goes full Emery when he comes there, because it was like watching Villarreal in the second half last week was like watching Arsenal when he was manager of Arsenal. So I'm hoping he goes full Emery. I was saying last night, Billy, on our own podcast that obviously the Newcastle game we won 2-0. All right, it's a bit of a dead rubber. Newcastle are probably safe. Arsenal haven't got much to play for, so it wasn't really a game full of passion or fight, or it didn't really mean anything. We've come away with the win. Obviously, we're delighted we got the 3 points. But the only thing, the big thing I've taken away from that game, and we had a big argument about it last night, is that Martinelli put in a man of the match performance against Newcastle. For me, he was my man of the match. Absolutely superb. We have got a serious talent on our hands with this kid, and we've also got serious talent in our hands over Bukayo Saka as well. But my argument is, Billy, in football, and this is how I felt about football. You play your form players. Saka, for me, hasn't been great in the final third in his last few games that he's played for us. Martinelli should be the first player on that team sheet Thursday night.
I actually mentioned this on my own podcast, Let's Talk Football. A cheeky little plug there.
Shameless.
Exactly. No, but Martinelli, for me, has got to be starting for Arsenal. 100% he's got to be starting. He's so quick and so skillful. And as you say, he's got the ball in the final third. You saw it for Aubameyang's goal at the weekend. He's just a danger to play against. He just runs at defenders as well, which always gives them something to think about. And for me, I completely agree with you that he's got to be certainly one of the first names on the team sheet. I still like Bukayo Saka though. I still think he's got to play, but yeah, Martinelli as well. 100%.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Saka's great, but I'm just one of these. I'm a traditionalist in the way I think that if you've got a player who's struggling a little bit for form, and you've got a player like Martinelli. I mean, he created 5 chances, assisted with his weak foot against Newcastle, got himself about, and that's what we want.
Yeah,
I know Dan. I think Dan will back me up on what I'm saying. Saka is a generational talent. Martinelli is a generational talent. But when the going gets going, you've got to have your best players on the pitch. Whether it's Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, you're going into a semi-final of a European competition. He cannot afford I've backed up Mikel Arteta all season, and I've made myself look silly sometimes doing it. I've taken awful grief doing it. But if he cannot see that Martinelli could be the difference between us, look, I don't want to put all that pressure on his shoulders, but he has got to play on Thursday night from the off, Dan. He has to.
Yeah, he does, and he's a player that I've been crying out for months now, and this manager just doesn't seem to like playing him, doesn't seem to even rate him, doesn't seem to think he's ready, and I think it's clear to see on Sunday, albeit against a poor Newcastle side, that he can turn it on and be the best player on the pitch, and I think that's what's got to happen on Thursday night, is he's got to play. I don't think he will. I really don't. I think Tierney, if he's fit, has to play. And that they will then put Xhaka back into midfield with Partey, which is probably our best centre midfield. The front four is going to be interesting. I think Ødegaard will play 10. I think Saka will go right. I think Aubameyang will be up left, so we won't. Up top, so we won't have any of this false nine stuff. And does he play Pepe? Does he play Smith Rowe? Or does he play Martinelli on the left? And it would be Martinelli. Martinelli will play every game for me. Martinelli will play every single game. 100%.
Well, especially now, especially after. I think that performance from Martinelli on Sunday was personal. I really do. He played so well, and he has really, really put himself in the shop window, as they say. And it's all on the manager just to get it right. I can't see how any football manager, anyone who is manager of Arsenal, leaves Martinelli out. I'm sorry now we're going on about Arsenal, but it's just a topic that.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just a topic I feel strongly about.
Can I add a wee bit on Saka?
Yeah, go for it, mate. Go for it.
It's a player that I've been quite interested in, especially this season, considering how versatile he's been. And I wanted to see, is he as versatile as people think he is? And it turns out he is and he isn't, okay? So you look at Bukayo Saka's performances, as a winger on the right, if you go onto Squawka or who scored, and you can see average ratings, they give you a decent indication. He plays on average a 7.33 out on the right hand side. Anytime he doesn't play in that position, he averages about between a 6.3 and a 6.6. Okay, so even though he is coming out and playing all over the pitch, it doesn't mean he's actually having his top games out there. And I think out on the right hand side, it's a difficult one because Pepe was brought in for a lot of money to play out that as a sort of inside striker, cut inside, get on your left foot, rocket it in. So Saka does his best work out on the right hand side, but has Pepe there as well. So it's a bit of a difficult one for him. He really needs to establish that. He needs to be given the opportunity to establish that, because he's playing half his games right now outside the position. He's playing wing back left, playing as a winger on the left, as a central striker, as a midfielder. He's all over the pitch in this chart I'm looking at in terms of appearances. I think he does. I think he's deserved the right to have a run of games out on that right hand side and really nail down some form, because all his goals, all his assists come from when he is out on that right hand side.
Dan, that's quite interesting, isn't it? I mean, we could Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left. Then, thank you very much.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't think it's will,
yeah, well, whether he will or whether he won't is a different matter. Billy, let's get some predictions then. We've done it for the Champions League. Billy, who do you think the out of Villarreal and Arsenal, who do you think is getting into the final? Because Manchester United are obviously there, and if they don't, I'm taking all the credit for for what I just said. Man United have 1.5 feet in the final. Yeah. It's obviously going to be out of Arsenal and Villarreal. Who do you think, mate? Who do you think is going to get it?
If I'm being honest with you, I hope Arsenal do get it, and that's not just because I'm on here. I do like Arsenal as a club, and I think you've got enough. It as you were saying, it all depends on Arteta and how he sets out. Because if he plays that silly formation that he did the other week, then I think Villarreal will pick you off quite easily, to be honest. But yeah, if you play the formation that you was just mentioning, then I don't think there's any problem with seeing yourselves in the final.
Simo, would you agree with that? Arsenal for the final?
Unfortunately not, no.
No.
As much as I would like to say to you boys that I think Arsenal are going to go through, if I have to be honest with myself, I think the experience at Emery, even though it does have the inferior squad, I do think Arsenal have the better squad. I think Villarreal have the better manager in terms of, I think Emery's going to be able to react a little bit better. I get that he did play the best football in the second half of his home leg, but he got the result. And you know, as I said, they have the inferior players. They have to be a lot more reactionary than Arsenal need to be. And I think Arteta, he's not really giving me any indication he's going to make the right decisions in this game. I hope he does, because it would be good to see a young coach like that coming through. But my gut feeling says that Villarreal are going to go through here.
Just to let you know that Simo will no longer be on this podcast ever again.
Oh, no!
We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. Oh, it just goes so quick when you're getting into when you're having a good conversation about the football. Unfortunately, we've reached the end of the podcast this evening. Thank you very much to everyone who stayed and watched us. We really, really appreciate it. I think we peaked at over 130 this evening, so thanks very much indeed. Absolutely superb. Obviously, anyone who wants to watch it again, or it'll be on YouTube. But for anyone who is watching this on YouTube and does prefer to listen to their podcast in the car or on your phones or wherever it is, or you do, the audio of this podcast will be available on Simo's and Billy's podcast at Total Screamers. So get over there. As you can see, it's been scrolling along the screen all night. Please go and follow the boys. This is a collaboration between the Same Old Arsenal and the Total Screamers. We've met up with these boys a couple of weeks ago, and we hit it off straight away. And it's something we spoke about. It's a complete collaboration. It's no more the Same Old Arsenal. It's just on our channel. But the audio, if you want the audio, please look up at Total Screamers. That is where you will find the audio for these podcasts. Which is great because it means I can just turn off my computer now, go downstairs and watch the football. I haven't got to do no audio editing. Plenty of people in the chat tonight saying, great show, lads. Thank you, Richard. Boise, come on, you Gooners. Issa says, big up, Dan, the real one. Oh, God.
What's a good man? What's a good man?
Majid says, quality show. Sherlock Holmes, come on, Arsenal. Yeah, come on. Yeah, of course. Look, we're up. Me and Danny, the Arsenal fans here. So yeah, come on, the Arsenal. Darren says excellent show, great feedback. Matthew says great show again. Thank you very much indeed. We'll keep doing it as long as you keep coming back. So Dan, thank you very much indeed, sir.
Thank you, boys. Enjoyed that. It's a great chat.
It was very good indeed. Simo, thank you very much. Where can people find you on Twitter, mate?
At Simo TSP, Talk Steamers podcast, yeah. And just a big thanks to everybody that watches. I'm so glad that this show is a success. My big worry when we were going to do this collaboration that it wouldn't be as successful as some of the other shows, but every single time it's got like over 1,000 views, which is great. So big thanks to everybody that watches.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Look, if we got one, I'd keep doing it because if one person watches it and likes it, then why not keep doing it? Billy, plug your podcast, son. Get it out there.
Other way. Let's talk football. Please go check it out. At
what do you talk about
on Twitter? Football in general, similar to this.
Right. Day off tomorrow. So there'll be no podcast tomorrow. Thursday, we have got 4 men and a mic just before the Villarreal game. And something that I've started doing only last week is the watch-alongs, which I thoroughly enjoy doing, actually. It's great. So you can come and catch me on YouTube and Twitch just about 2 minutes before the game. I log on and we can watch the game together. We've got a little system going now with people in the chat. If they're watching it on Sky, they actually pause it until I catch up with them, and then they press play. Well, they press play on their Sky boxes, so we're watching it together. So it's pretty cool, and we have a good chat. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Until we see you again, remember, follow at Total Screamers. That is where you'll find out the podcast in audio. Go over there and support the boys. Until we see you again, take care of yourselves and each other. Up the Screamers. Oh, I'm having a shocker. No, I don't want to copy. I want to end broadcast. No, I don't want to copy it. We're still live. I know. This is show business. This is live.